Fun. Well, today I am here with our marketing and communications department, specifically talking to Walsh's marketing folks about what makes Walsh distinct and specifically marketing at Walsh. So I'm here today with Dr. Jenny Tatzik and Dr. Phil Fioravante, and we're going to talk a little bit about marketing and why it's so important now, especially in a post-COVID world. So thanks for joining Phil and Jenny. My first question will be for Phil. Phil, tell us a little bit about the marketing program at Walsh and why that Walsh is so distinct in the marketplace for marketing.
Well, thanks for the opportunity. I think one of the things that students would find with our program is that it is both qualitative and quantitatively based. A lot of our classes that we teach, for instance, our capstone course is based on real-world presentations and real-world projects for the students to actually interface with business owners and learn real-world problems and try to develop solutions. Our creativity and innovation course is one example, also provides students with the opportunity to develop new ideas, new products, and new services that perhaps could be taken to the marketplace as entrepreneurs. And we've got several businesses actually that have been born out of that course, as well as a few others that are now commercialized and in the marketplace. So I think some of those things add some distinctiveness to our program. Likewise, a lot of our instructors are sort of, if you will, still in the boardroom, so they're able to bring shared experiences, both real world as well as other business opportunities that they've also encompassed and put that into the course as well. So it really provides the student with a real world marketing, learn and teach at the same time.
Phil, that's so important because many times we study the theory, in business and in marketing, and yet what we're learning even in this world today is that you have to know how to apply it to see results. And you spoke specifically about the creativity and the innovation and entrepreneurship. Are you seeing a lot of entrepreneurs that really need to study marketing and business owners and really need to kind of learn what's going on and get that real world experience in order to be successful?
I think we have. It's interesting, as we've rolled out a number of case studies within the creativity course, we're finding some of our students are sort of blossoming entrepreneurs. And again, entrepreneurship is not for everybody, but there are several students that perhaps were questioning their abilities and questioning their skill sets. And I think through the applications of some of our courses, whether it's marketing fundamentals or the creativity course and several others, that they're able to sort of find their own and jump on their skis and start developing a confidence level to launch a company. And we've got several really neat examples.
That is so great. That is so great, especially because they're getting that real world experience in the classroom. So they hit the ground running in whatever they're doing. And they're also working many times. So they're bringing that into their job, into their company as well. Speaking of the working world, Jenny, tell us a little bit about, what are you seeing with careers and opportunities in the marketing field? And, what can students do with this degree and in all of these jobs and all of these areas?
Sure. I mean, the career opportunities for a marketing graduate are many. Every business across every industry, they need marketers to improve brand awareness, to generate revenue. We see it in the field of marketing with the new channels, with digital that's out there. The opportunities are really limitless.
Yeah, that's so great. Especially like you said, every business needs this to drive revenue. You can have the best product and service, but if people don't know about it, if you can't market it, then you don't get any sales in the door. And that's why these positions are so valuable to companies and they'll always exist. Phil, what changes are you seeing in the marketing world now that maybe were different than before that you think that it's important students are aware of? And Walsh does a great job of saying, look, we have some real time changes going on that we're helping empower you and helping educate you with.
So for me, it's simply two worlds. It's relevancy and it's currency. A lot of brands today are struggling with where their position is in the market. A lot of brands are starting to go cross market. So they're moving from perhaps transportation to industrial to consumer products. So marketing today is really talking about taking your brand and taking your products or services and positioning them either differently within the same market or across a broader marketplace. And I think one of the things that our students are learning is that the importance of brand equity and really the importance of understanding their customer, but more importantly, their customer's customer, are what we refer to as the consumer. So the more that our marketing folks can learn about the end user of the product or service Then they can pull that back into the organization to make sure they're properly aligned to meet the customer's needs.
I like that a lot. And Jenny, you were going to share a little bit too on that.
Well, and certainly we're seeing that there's a lot of value that a marketer can bring. You have to be able to pivot, especially we see this in our COVID world, and it's being rewarded. It's predicted that marketing jobs are rising 77% above the national average. And a mid-level marketer can make an average salary of between $125,000 and $136,000 a year. Those are good paying jobs.
Yeah. And they're generating great value for the companies as well. I really like to hear about that innovation course and the idea that you have built that CAPSIM in as well. What is the role of innovation in marketing? Because I'm thinking about if people are listening and thinking, I wanted to do marketing, but I love creativity and I love ideas, and I'm not sure that marketing would that box me in? Would that open a runway for me? Where do you see the role? And that's a question to both, Phil and Jenny. Phil, if you want to start, of creativity and innovation with marketing.
So the interesting component of that course is that we do allow students in the curriculum itself to, if you will, sponsor the notion of creativity and innovation. However, one of the things that we build around it is still the need to have project management. So the blend of this course is not just freewheeling, let's go out and spend lots of money and hopefully we're going to, if you will, make a profit at the end of the day. So the way that we teach a prep is a little bit distinct, is that the fact that we want students to be creative in varying approaches. We want them to innovate in the models in which they develop, but at the same time understand that there needs to be a structure, financial structure or project management structure to ensure timeliness to the marketplace, ensure budgets are being hit, and making sure that the end item is truly something the customer wants to purchase, again, whether it's a service or a product. So we don't just focus on products and creativity and innovation. There's so many wonderful things, and perhaps even more so, a simple app or different services that banks are offering or Amazon, you name it. So we do try to teach the fact that it's more than just product, and at the same time, it needs to have some structure. So we also teach good project management skills within the notion of creativity and innovation. Because at the end of the day, you want to commercialize your product or service, and by making sure that you're hitting milestones and deliverables, then we feel that our offer is a little distinct versus just being a freewheeling innovation class.
Yeah, that's so good. That's so good. Now, here, Jenny, do you want to add a little bit to that as far as what are the practical applications that you see? And I apologize, the sun, it's such a beautiful day here. The sun is coming in, so it's a little bit of a glare. So that's kind of fun. We're seeing that. But what do you see as far as creativity and innovation? I liked how Phil talked about, but we also need the project management. Yes, we also need that piece of it so that it isn't just kind of innovation without direction and deliverables.
And we see that in our capstone project at the graduate level. Students are providing a marketing plan for a customer. And we've had a variety of customers, and Phil can certainly speak to the variety that we've had, but they developed this marketing plan. So they work with the client, and they have a deliverable that they produce at the end. And that's something you can take to future employers and say, I did that. And it involves certainly you need the creativity, the innovation, but you need to be able to manage that project with your team and work together with others.
Yeah, that's so important. So one of the last questions I'll ask is, what do you see, both of you, as the biggest disruption coming through in marketing? Is it something we have to worry about with AI and technology? And what is one of the biggest disruptors that you're seeing and you're talking about with your students in the classroom so they can be prepared for not only today, but the world tomorrow?
For me, the biggest disruption right now is just the consumer. The consumers are challenged with options. The consumer is challenged with disposable income. They're challenged with understanding if it's a need, want, or a desire. So we're really making sure that our students are being able to sort of parse up those various aspects of the consumer and making sure that the brand permission and the equity that they're developing in their brand is providing the customer what they need. And I think the disruptive nature of, you already mentioned, artificial intelligence, digital marketing, changing demands of the consumers right now, the moving demographic shifting from a younger age to a more middle age to an older age, and making sure that your brand sort of follows those individuals as they move upscale, whether it's in price or quality or functionality of what they desire. So I think those are the disruptions, just making sure that their brand has, if you will, the real equity to survive these times as well as future times going forward.
Yeah, that is so key because it's such a dynamic world. And, I think AI was coming anyway. And now with COVID and with more digital marketing, that has just taken off. And so that's what I love about Walsh's programs and the faculty is there's a focus on not only what do we need today, but what do we have to be prepared for tomorrow so we can help graduates in their careers, even after they come through, even after they're alumni. That's so valuable.
I think the whole notion, the whole notion of the traditional marketing mix, right? Product, place, promotion, and pricing is really changed. I mean, there's a whole notion of, perhaps there's the fifth P in philanthropy, and the consumer, the largest consumer buying body right now, appreciates the fact that the companies that they're working with have a social responsible bent to them. And it would be interesting to see how the traditional four Ps begin to morph into something different. I think that's quite disruptive. I think there's a number of marketers out there that aren't sensitized to the fact that the consumers that are buying their products are demanding more every day. And are they positioned financially and product or service wise to offer those customers the products they want? So it could change.
Yeah. Phil, that's a great point, because what we're seeing now in the marketplace is, businesses really shifting more to a more open, transparent, initial freemium model to allow customers and consumers to be exposed to their brand and to see how it delivers. And that's a different model than maybe years ago in business, where we'd say, well, we can't give that away, we can charge for it. That freemium model disrupted some pieces to this. And now technology, which can allow businesses to do this at a more cost-effective way, continues to do that. But yeah, I mean, if you're not on the pulse of what the consumer wants, and we see that in higher ed, and that's one of the reasons why the marketing program is so strong and is doing so well, because it has you on the pulse saying, look, we got to be aware of these changes. We want to still teach what was, what are foundational, but are there 5 Ps now? Are there different 5 Ps than before, right? There was always that traditional debate before, but that's really important as well. So that when they come to Walsh, they're getting not only something really rich in theory and application, but really is relevant, like you said, relevancy to the market climate and to the economy. So that's so important. Jenny, I know that your background as well is in communication. You're the chair of our communications and marketing department. What role do you see communication playing in marketing, and how does that synergize and relate to making outstanding marketing professionals?
Oh, you absolutely need to be able to communicate what you're seeing. You not only communicate with your consumer, you need to communicate with your team. And if you're not able to represent your idea and communicate it in a way that your audience can understand, you're at a disadvantage. Certainly in marketing, you're dealing with a lot of quantitative data to drive decisions. And you need to be able to tell the story, not only tell the story to your consumer, but tell the story to your team so that you're rallying around the same message. So communication is critical in all fields, but especially in marketing.
Yeah, so true. You have to be able to explain the return, the value, and be able to communicate with the client. What is the problem you're solving? What is the value your business does in a way that's simple? Many times we get so complicated. We say, well, this is how I do it. And it's really not about that. It's what is the problem you're solving in the marketplace? And marketing comes in and does that so well. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking, you know what, I knew I liked marketing. Now I really love it. I want to be able to study under Dr. Phil Fioravanti, and I want to study under Dr. Jenny Katzik. Come to Walsh, because you will have these faculty who have had industry experience. That's the other piece that's important. Not only are they credentialed in their field academically, but there's industry and business experience, and that's so valuable. So graduates hit the ground running. So thank you so much, Phil. Thank you so much, Jenny, for joining us today. This has been great.